So we have a couple of things to go over. Um, I'm going to be fairly brief on them. Feel free to save your questions for after each subject is over, and then we'll go ahead and go through them, then move on to the next one. That's basically how these things work. So, first thing I want to go ahead and talk about is that we are going to be war eligible from here onwards. There is a war that we've just recently started with HISEC, or the Cardinal Treaty as they're known now. This war is kind of like a personal sort of thing. I don't want to get too much into it as there's already previous sorts of stuff. So I'm not going to repeat what's already been said to you guys' leadership. But if you want to know more about it, just feel free to ask your leadership. In regards to that, this will be one of the first war decks that we'll be doing throughout the year. There will be a few more after this, of which I'm not certain of the dates, but we'll be doing those as and when we expand, as the doctrines grow, as people become more compliant and that sort of stuff. And this won't affect anybody's sort of infrastructure or moving or any of that sorts of things, as you guys are all either wormholers, PvPers, indie dudes, and that sort of stuff, or newer pilots. Now, for these sort of things to continue, for wars and stuff, for us to be happening and the reasoning for it, it doesn't necessarily need to be a personal thing. It can be for content, it can be for the generation of PvP, it can be to teach you guys how to do PvP, especially when it comes to this sort of stuff, because it provides a consistent stream of these sorts of events happening on a regular basis. Now, I have Pegasus here who's done quite a lot of wars recently, before joining TMC. Pegasus, would you mind giving us a little bit of insight into regular wars and how that sort of goes about on a daily basis? With the war side of things outlined, there will be doctrines for you guys to train. I've given your CEOs, or will be giving them after the Fireside, a list of things for you guys to train into. It's very easy to get into. There's T1 options, there's T2 options as well. So for people who are relatively on the lower skilled side, don't worry about if you can't get into the heavier T2 stuff. If you're able to get into the T1 things, that's fine. We can get you in, get you started. A lot of us have heavy ordnance things already, so don't worry too much about it. As for like racial lines and that sort of stuff, I've noticed some people are Galente heavy or some people are heavily in Caldari. That's fine too. We have options for basically everybody. And it's not too big of an issue going forward. We'll get that sorted as we continue to recruit and bring more people on board. Another thing I want to point out before I move to the next part is you will need to make sure that you have clones in the right areas as per the previous announcement. Make sure you have clones in the structures that I've told you to. Do not use the War HQ for that sort of thing. It will have one there, but it will be restricted so that nobody will be able to utilize it. It's there intentionally for fuel costs. That's literally all it is. So make sure you have your jump clone set and your death clone set as well. And when it comes for doctrine, procuring and production, that sort of stuff, we'll work on that later as we get more industrialists within the group and we're able to continue producing what we need to for doctrine requirements and that sort of stuff. Any questions? Good. Yeah, I have alpha and omega. So ankle biters is alpha friendly. Wild dogs is partially alpha friendly, but like it's not fully alpha. It's mostly ankle biters that's alpha friendly, and SS is also alpha friendly. So you have two doctrines that are alpha friendly, and both of them have DPS, C1, and logistics capabilities, range from frigates to battle cruisers. So it's a good uniform that we have available for the guys. Any questions before I move on to the next part? Let me know if there's any questions about this, and I'll go ahead and answer them. Okay. Let me know what they say. S- yes. Yeah, so to give you an example, if say someone kills you in space and they pod you, you'll go to where your death clone is set. So if your death clone set is in Sozan HQ M4, the NPC station, then you will automatically respawn there. But if you need to utilize your jump clone, what that means is, let's say you're in Minmatar space, right? And you need to jump clone over to where we are for a fleet. What'll happen is, instead of death clone to the area, you can jump clone over here and you will jump to your jump clone. From there, you can then death clone to another area should you need to travel for another fleet. So you basically have 2 jumps in one day. That's a way to utilize that sort of thing. So the difference between two of them is you can jump to one and die to the other one and respawn in that specific location. Hope that answers the question. Any more questions before I move on to the next point? No? Okay. So, second point, and this is going to be a very quick fireside. So this is going to be the last point. So we've had. Oh, God. What about the recent what? Yeah, if they've asked to surrender for Zero-isk, like. Yeah, that's just an insult. There's been no Diplo contacts or anything as far as I'm aware. At least not that I've checked. I've had my Discord going off, but I'm not going to check till after the Fireside. If they've sent a recent surrender offer, it's going to be ignored for the time being. We are going to go after their structures. It is going to be a full-scale fucking for their shit. If they do want to negotiate a surrender offer, we have a diplomat. They can join the Discord and speak to the Diplo, and we can go from there. I'm not going to be talking with any of them directly. It's going to be very professional and by the books. If they want to go through that sort of route, they're more than welcome to take it, but we'll make the last decision on that sort of stuff. And they will be treated the exact same way that they've caused interference and BS in TMC as it was before they left, and they will be seen as such. Now, on to the second point. So, we've recently recruited a couple of you guys, Ashri, as well as Metallurgy, and now a new group which is being kind of held together by Binlo and a couple of his friends, which is fantastic. We've got you guys here as basically new friends. I want to give you some time to transition into things. Now, that being said, we are at war, so I apologize for that transition. But there's going to be quite a lot of activities for you guys to get involved with. Not just PvP, but there's a lot of industrial infrastructure for you guys to utilize as well. I've already approached some of your leadership, like Andy, and I don't think I've approached Joak yet, but I've approached Andy in regards to potential wormhole escalation for, C4s, C5s, that sort of stuff. So there's a lot of things available for you guys to play with. And for you guys to use. So it'll be put out regularly, so make sure you contact your leadership consistently about these sorts of things, because we'll be going through them. If it's not going through them, what I'll do is I will also put it up in announcements for you guys as well. I would like everybody to be PvP trained, specifically so that when it comes to these sorts of engagements like wars and home defense and the defense of your wormholes and all that sorts of jazz, that you know what you're doing. So you are able to better defend not only yourself but your friends and your home. That's about it.